Hello and welcome to In Focus Kentucky. I'm Mario Anderson. Each week this program will take a look at issues that matter to you right here in the Bluegrass State. We'll talk to the lawmakers, community organizers, and people like you who help shape those policies. On today's show, we're taking a look at apprenticeship and the opportunities that are available in the state of Kentucky. We'll talk about why workforce development is important, the state's apprenticeship program, and we'll find out why the program is so important in giving second chances to former felons transitioning into the workforce. In 2016, Governor Matt Bevin and Labor Secretary Derek Ramsey launched the Kentucky Trained, Kentucky Built Apprenticeship campaign with hopes to make Kentucky the manufacturing hub of excellence in America. The program hoped to provide career pathways for those just entering the workforce, as well as increase opportunities for those looking to expand their career track. Before we meet our first guest, we spoke with Governor Bevin on our very first show about how the program is helping the citizens of Kentucky.
My vision for Kentucky is that we become the engineering and manufacturing hub of excellence in America, that nowhere in America is more synonymous with engineering and manufacturing excellence in the 21st century. And if we are to be that, and we can be that, and we are well on our way to being that, then we have to invest in the kind of infrastructure that will attract companies, that will attract other companies, that will make this happen. That's what we're doing. The people who produce the materials, the people who then transform those materials, the people who turn those materials into goods that people buy. That's what's happening in Kentucky. That's where we're going to continue to focus. Who are some members of our population here in Kentucky that have been traditionally overlooked, where we have perhaps not expected enough from people or given enough opportunity to people? And that includes people with disabilities, maybe physical disabilities that has precluded them from being an active part of the workforce. It might include people who have come out of the prison population, who are looking for a chance to restart their lives, a second shot, a redemption to get back on track and turn their lives around. It might involve people that are recovering from addiction. And these are populations, increasing numbers of people in our state who are on the sidelines, and we want them off the sidelines. So this is a way to, how can we bring people like that into the program? And there's others as well, even Justice to Journeyman. It's a program within our prison system, within our juvenile detention centers and within our traditional population prisons, men's, women's alike, men and women prisons. Electrical work, welding work, metal stamping, fabricating, skills and jobs that are needed in the outside world. Let's start that training program while people are incarcerated and paying their dues to society.
Our first guest is Irvin Dimony, Commissioner of the Department of Workplace Standards in the Kentucky Labor Cabinet. Commissioner, thanks so much for joining us here on In Focus Kentucky.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And let's just talk about this apprenticeship program. Before that, actually, what is apprenticeship? Most people may not be familiar with that particular term, so kind of explain what that is.
In very simple terms, apprenticeship is a model, a workforce development model, an earn and learn model. Someone who has an interest in a particular career, acquiring a particular skill set, the apprenticeship provides a pathway by engaging through an employer with an employment opportunity and educational components to eventually become a skilled worker. That's essentially what apprenticeship is.
All right. Now, the Kentucky Trained, Kentucky Built started in 2016.
Right.
So we're in 2018. Where's the program now?
So Kentucky actually has quite a long history with the apprenticeship. Goes back to the early 20th century, where certain laws and regulations were passed in order to try to reframe workforce development. And the apprenticeship was primarily known or used as a model by the building trades. And in the last few years, we tried to take this model and scale it to other sectors as well. And as part of this marketing, as part of this outreach, we decided to pitch this model through the Kentucky Built, Kentucky Trained concept. And essentially, we engaged companies to adopt the apprenticeship model. So the apprenticeship is primarily industry driven.
Now, for those businesses that have joined the program, what type of feedback have you been receiving on this?
Businesses businesses that adopted the apprenticeship recently or years ago report a high retention rate, over 90% retention rate. The businesses really like the apprenticeship model because they have an opportunity to choose an applicant and essentially build their competencies. So they train their own workforce. Part of this training is becoming familiar with the corporate culture and also ensuring that an individual has the necessary skill set to meet a specific industry's requirement.
And for those people who are living in Kentucky, what feedback have you received from them?
There's a lot of momentum in Kentucky about apprenticeship. We currently have over 40 different skills that are apprenticed, 220 plus programs, about 3,400 active apprentices in various sectors: the building trades, logistics, IT, healthcare, the culinary industry, public sector jobs. So every sector, every skill is apprenticeable. And essentially the apprenticeship is a different approach. We are changing the framework. We're changing the way we approach workforce development. Workforce development cannot happen in an isolated classroom setting, in a sterile classroom setting. A diploma or a degree does not necessarily mean that someone has the required skill set to go and do the work. So the apprenticeship really brings the business into this process and provides the apprentice, the student, the opportunity to learn on the job.
Now, earlier this year we interviewed Governor Matt Bevin, and he discussed the Justice to Journeyman program and explained how successful that's been. Talk a little bit about that and from your perspective on how that's been going so far.
Sure. So when we talk about Justice to Journeyman, think about it as a pipeline. So if a company adopts the apprenticeship model as a workforce development model, then a company can choose to create various pipelines from high school, from displaced workers, unemployed, underemployed individuals, or individuals who are looking for second chances, right? And the Justice to Journeyman is one of these pipelines. We partnered with Justice Cabinet to create a framework for those who are re-entering society. And they actually have an opportunity to choose a skill, a career pathway, and complete some of the educational components before they re-enter society. And this is actually good for everyone involved. The individual who enters society will have an opportunity for a meaningful career, support themselves. Companies that have an interest in working with this pipeline will have a much more informed, better informed individual with already some training that they completed. Ultimately, it's better for Kentucky to see everyone re-enter society as a productive citizen.
And we were doing some research and found out that Norton Healthcare is now using this program to find nurses. Is that correct?
That's correct. Actually, the Norton project was one of the first to really look at nursing, an aspect of nursing, and engage the employer, the hospital system, to adopt the apprenticeship model. Nurse shortage is a reality across the state, and actually several hospitals from various parts of Kentucky are looking at streamlining the training, the recruiting, training, and retention through the apprenticeship program.
Well, Commissioner Dimony, we really appreciate you stopping by to talk with us about this program and what you are doing to help develop it throughout the next year as well.
Thank you very much.
Now, coming up, we'll speak with a workforce development and skill expert from Australia about how apprenticeship can meet the needs of the United States workforce. Next on In Focus Kentucky.